What is going on, everybody? Boilon here doing another video recording at 1 in the morning. I was just wanting to check the time. Yeah, I don't know what's up. I've been spending some really late nights these days. Sometimes as late as 3 or 4 in the morning. I've been having some hard time sleeping. So sometimes, I do some video recording at this time. And, sometimes it's a bit crazy. Because since I'm pretty tired, maybe my videos aren't as great quality. But anyways, recording during the day has been really hard because it's been increasingly a lot hotter. I live upstairs, so heat rises, and it's very uncomfortable. So I do a lot of my recording around this time. Anyways, today I want to talk to you guys about a possible new dawn approaching in Marvel Strike Force, and what I mean by that is we have some reports, discussion, I guess, regarding the MSF PV movement and some of the stuff that they've shared with the community as far as expectations going forward. So I want to talk about some of that. I also want to take a look at the game more broadly, just in general, with things going on right now, and talking about some of the pros and the cons and my general thoughts. And I know what some of you are thinking, that, it's going to be an entirely salty video. It's not. It's not actually. I have no idea what I'm going to say yet. But, there are some things to look forward to. But as usual for me, when it comes to Scopely, I think that talk is cheap. And when we see things in practice, that's when, I'll be able to reserve my judgment for, and my full version of it, as you will. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Where's my scene button? Oh god. Sorry, guys. So I want to kind of start here with this PDF document that was brought to the attention just maybe about, I don't know, less than 12 hours ago, maybe 10 hours ago as of recording this. And this was quite interesting. There's a lot of information here. There's like a couple of paragraphs here that I want to go over. But specifically, we're going to start from the top, so let's go over this together. The MSF team is working to adjust the character release cadence and availability to make a positive impact on our community. So this is in regards to, which I'm sure you guys are aware, that characters are basically released every single week. I have the information on that, and I'll even bring that up in a little bit on my character data spreadsheet, and that pretty much is in line with that. And so that people have often been saying the characters are being released too fast, that we don't even have time to even pay much attention to them. Like honestly, like we're moving on from a team. We're kind of already moving on from nowhere, and yet we don't even have Thor Infinity War unlocked. Like, I think it's absolutely insane. From a free-to-play perspective especially, like, it's just absolutely gobsmacking that, like, we're already moving on to Vol, and actually Loki teenager or whatever, Kid Loki, is going to be released in like a week's time in offers, and we're just like kind of like 2 or 3 characters ahead when free-to-play haven't even had a chance to unlock them or even like bother to do anything with them. And so we're just moving at a much more rapid pace than ever before. It's just kind of crazy in that way. This can be complex as most character development starts 6 to 8 months before release, so redirecting this flow takes time. With that in mind, we are finalizing the plans to enable us to commit to a better balance of reworks on new teams. Okay. And a healthier cadence of 8 to 10 days minimum between new character releases. So this is the part where I'm a little bit lost, because I want to bring up my sheet here, if I can find it, because I didn't have it in advance, is this thing. You guys probably seen this. Let's zoom in a bit. So how many days has it been realistically, like, between characters? Let's zoom in a little bit further. So it's this column. This is the pre-release offer column anyways. So we had Vol, which was the 23rd of June. We have Thor, which is the 15th of June. Now, I'm pretty sure most of my dates are accurate. So what's interesting here is that there's 8 days between... there was a patch, but between Thor and Vol. And then actually 11 days between Star-Lord and Thor. And then only 6 days between Korg and Cosmo. That's kind of crazy. And then we had Nova. There was a bit of a gap because, like, I guess this was like a 10 times Dark Promotion credit period a little bit. We had Gwenpool, and I think she was in the orbs for maybe about 8 or 9 days, actually. And then there was like a maybe 3 or 4 day period of 10 Dark. I'm pretty sure these dates are accurate because then we had the Nova event. So it's just in some instances it's a bit too quick. If you go back a little bit here, like, it's pretty noticeable here. You have 7 days between Iron Fist and Quicksilver, and then Firestar. There was a little bit of a gap here, it would seem here, like more like 11 days, 10, 11 days. And then we had something similar actually between Union Jack and Bucky, but then it was like 7 days between Captain America and Union Jack. So when it's really quick, like 6 to 7 days. And then I guess sometimes it goes like 10 to 11 days, but it's never been 2 weeks. Like, I play a lot of mobile games, and when they release new characters, 2 weeks is pretty common. I think 2 weeks is actually where Star Wars Galaxy Heroes is. Correct me if I'm wrong, for those who do still play it. I don't actively play it, but other mobile games that I'm currently playing do have a 2-week new character release schedule. And while not all games are the same in that regard, and some of them are gacha titles, which, you're pulling for those characters, but I feel like it's a more reasonable pace as far as how frequently we should expect new characters. Now, some people may say that's too slow. So if you have a 4 to 5 new character team, that's like 2 months. And so maybe that's too slow for some people. Maybe if we had a more regular, like 10 to 12 days, I don't know, like 3 a month would be fine for me. But it doesn't, I guess that's because when there's a brand new team being released, like a full new team, that's where if it was 2 weeks, it could get, a little bit slow as far as the patch cycles go. But it wasn't always that way. Like back when we had, because we have crazy things with like 6 character patches and stuff like that. That's become the norm now, which only used to happen in the winter patch, and things were a little bit more subdued. It wasn't every 7 days. It was like even this past winter, it was like still 11 days, 9 days, whatever this is, like 12, 7, 8, 12 days, so it was a little bit better. 13 days here, 8 days, and whatever that is over there. So we still had things where it was like 8 days, but there were larger gaps in the past, and I think that's what we're kind of honing in on. Not all the time necessarily, but it was a little bit more noticeable where it was like 3 characters a month rather than 4. If we go further back, I'm considering like around Darkhold time. I guess with Morgan Le Fay, there was a bit of a gap there. 3 days plus 8 days, 6 days. That was bad actually over here. So I don't know. I mean, it varies quite a bit, but I feel like depending on how long you've been playing Marvel Strike Force, like it didn't always used to be like this. And my data gets a little bit less accurate the further we go back. But I mean, this one here, for example, we had a 3-character patch for 5.2 with Silver Surfer, Multiple Man, and Polaris. And there was a pretty large gap here between Silver Surfer and Multiple Man. And you can see here as well, Bishop and White Tiger, patch 5.1, 17 days. And then we had Jubilee in between here. And then we had Moon Knight on the 1st of March. So there was, in the past, like 2 years ago, a lot larger gaps. 10 days even is fine. Honestly, Red Guardian to Kitty Pryde to Iceman, those are all 10 days there. And then probably about 8 or 9 days there, 11 days here, 9 days. So I think 10 days is fine. I think I was talking about this way too long. So I would rather it be 10 days. That's fine with me. 3 a month, that's fine. But when it's like every 6 to 7 days, that gets a bit much. And then people really don't have time to really even like absorb the new characters. I honestly don't even know what half these new characters do. We also wanted to highlight our ongoing internal effort to make character shards more available within a reasonable time after release. So we know, and it's an ongoing joke, but it is about 9 months typically for characters becoming available with it, which is honestly a bit ridiculous in my opinion. Along with additional work forthcoming with the gold economy in mind, this includes an upcoming revamp of the Strike Pass. I hope this is free to play available as well, in an effort to restore player agency, while also taking an opportunity to improve early communication. We are sharing some of what we are working on for Cosmic Crucible Season 4. I believe Dorky Dad did a video on this and some sort of interview that he did. I didn't watch the video, though. While we cannot share everything, Season 4's stage rule are meant to be helpful in theory crafting, while leveraging global rules to feature teams. So, let's finish reading. We want to make sure this feature make this feature more open to experimenting with teams while helping Crucible teams retain their value. More details on... So, this kind of reminds me of Age of X with Unlimited X-Men. And let me know in the comments below, were you pro Age of X or not? I know a lot of people started getting bored with it after a while, but I guess for better or for worse, you were able to use Unlimited X-Men where you wanted to use them. You weren't pigeonholed into a particular room. And that's where Cosmic Crucible hit the shitter lately. Is that we have all of these rooms, but specific teams that are designed to be in specific rooms, and that conveyor belt that they're just being pushed down along, right? The Tangled Web Eternals room, the Vibranium room, the Rebirth room now, and so on and so forth. And so being able to maybe have more flexibility in where we use which teams and which rooms, like, I guess if the room rules were more broad, that we could actually decide better where we wanted to use those teams. And a great example, I've been not really paying too much attention to, this is going to show up. I already, did all this on my phone, but it shows up again on emulator. Yeah, it sucked it big time on my Crossing Crucible. But anyways, teams like, rooms like Building Momentum, for example, where this is more broad, doesn't really matter necessarily who you're using in this. You can theorycraft that a little bit better. But 6, 4, and 3 have like no theory crafting whatsoever, and 2 is very minor. But it still allows you to put whoever you want in there or just skip it. And 1 is kind of getting boring. But same thing, right? Like, you could do what you want there. So we need more of these flexible rooms and less of these prescribed rooms, because I think that's kind of the bullshit that people are really sick of right now. So that's they can't really share anything, so we'll wait to see when it's live, I guess, or close enough. Talk is cheap, and I hope that they do something like this, and I hope that it's more positive going forward. We also wanted to note that there will be no gold or training orb opening events in July. Okay, so this one is funny because it just says in July. It doesn't say that it's not going to happen. It just says that they're taking a break for July. So what this means to me is that we're not finished yet. This could come back, and I wish that they just took it off the table entirely, because I think it's a little crap, and it really shows their lack of ingenuity to design events that they have to do this. That there's very little creativity, and there's only so much you can do in this game, but they also don't have the creativity and innovation to design unique events that allow us to do things, or do character unlock events that don't require rehashing of all of the same stuff we've done in the past. I guess I expect a little bit more in my games, but these days, yeah, they just, I don't know why they just can't come up with the unique events where it's actually fun. Well, the team reevaluates the strategy around this in leaderboards. Not going to touch on leaderboards right now too much. People hate this anyways, which we highlighted in the last week's player council meeting. We can now commit to limiting the number of leaderboard-based milestone events planned for July to 3. So I think this is because we were getting multiple, sometimes even 2 a week, in previous months, and this was really tough on people, and just people were getting kind of fed up with it, and it was just really about milking and squeezing the player base in terms of the leaderboard, which was normally for monetizing Blue ISO 5 and I guess recently G18 minis. With the exception of one that begins in June and bleeds over. That's probably one right now, I would imagine. One leaderboard is planned for the July monthly meta milestone, and because this happens every month anyways, and 2 others will be used in milestone events. So that's probably down from, I would imagine, that we've had like 6 in June, but that's just me just ballparking it, because we've had at times 2 a week, and definitely at least every week there's been one. And so that's it. That they've committed to, at least for 1 month, no gold or training orb openings. So that's interesting, because it's not forever, and I don't normally farm the training orb. I kind of was, and I kind of am, but I might stop. So I was previously farming that, but I definitely do farm this every day. Make sure you're doing the gold orb fragments, so the Morbius node, the Echo node, and the Anti-Venom node. Make sure you're doing this every single day, because even that'll add up. That's like 1,200 fragments per day that you can get out of your energy. It's super important, and so gold is, in my opinion, more important than training modules, and at least if we're having a month break, then you don't need to go back to doing training modules and training orb fragments right now, unless you're really hard pressed up on it, but I am not. There has been other ways that you've been able to get trading orb fragments as it sits right now, so things aren't that bad. But let's take a look at things more broadly, and like things that's going on right now. I'm actually not angry with any of the events right now. People have different opinions about some of the events right now. But, as far as the blitzing goes with Intergalactic Merch Booth, the online, I don't know why I clicked on this, but the web milestone portion of it anyways, which is the Blitz credits, it's not that bad. Like, I'm kind of, their efforts to, kind of crack down on the hoarding has helped, I think. But it was the part where they weren't sure about, because the orb openings, for example. So, people were like, well, they cracked down on other parts of hoarding, but not about the orb opening. So now they've been a bit more clear that this isn't going to happen. Ironically, after Hit the Lights finishes, so they make this announcement right after Hit the Lights, finishes. I guess maybe everyone blew their orbs or whatever for that one. which, hey, by the way, I did. I blew my orbs for one. I didn't on the first one. I completely skipped the first one, but I did get like 1144. I did get the 1 to 4%. And hey, I walked away with 40. I think it's probably because everyone blew their stash on the first event, and I barely did anything on that one. But hey, it's what it is. So yeah, I mean, where am I sitting right now in the game? I don't know why I'm going into my roster, but yeah, I feel like things have been feeling a bit rushed. And please let me know in the comments down below if you've been feeling this way at all. Like, when I mean rushed, I mean like just characters have been moving on so quickly, the releases have been so fast, or we're already moving on. For example, like we're on the free-to-play Thor Infinity War event, but we're basically doing stuff regarding Vol, who I also, ironically, I have, because I use cores to get Vol, that I have Vol unlocked before I get Thor unlocked. And then we're going to get Loki Teen in like the following week as well, at least in the pre-offers. So I have all these characters like sitting at level 1, you know, resources aside, because I just don't plan on building nowhere at this time, that, you know, even if I was going to, like, I'd just be so far behind because they're just whipping out characters so quickly. I don't really have time to really think about them. And that's not even including the reworks team, because you guys know I've been working on Swarm. Yeah, I got level 95 Swarm, G17. I'm getting right in there. I'm really happy about this, actually. I know some people are calling me crazy, but hey, screw you guys. This is great. Swarm is great. We're going to flex Swarm more soon when I get Spidey big time. Well, which for better or for worse, actually, he is a free character unlock. At least I'll be getting him in 6 weeks. I was hoping I'd get him in 4, but I think it's going to be 6 weeks. Unless they have a core orb for him, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Because I would actually do that to get him unlocked 2 weeks earlier so I could start building him. But yeah, that's just another story anyways. And yeah, it's just so many characters. Like, these 6 character patches have been really overwhelming. But, you know, maybe there is some light at the end of the tunnel. That's why I'd love to hear what your guys' perspective is. You know, actually, I think I've managed to do this largely salt-free, this video here. You know, I want to be more positive in the game, and I want more things to be positive to talk about. I know that I'm usually not one to do a ton of, like, Alliance War and Cosmic Crucible content anyways, but I still think that Cosmic Crucible was probably was better than Alliance War as far as, you know, excitement goes. And so if they can bring back some of this excitement to the game for the players, then I see that as a positive. So, you know, I want to say, you know, good job to the MSFPV people up there who have, you know, hopefully in good faith have been able to have these conversations with Scopely. You know, I don't really know, obviously I'm not really privy anymore to the conversations that go on, but I just hope that what they're getting from Scopely is not just platitudes, and I hope that there is some goodwill gestures longer term to work with the players to kind of get some overall improvement. Because, you know, I have to admit that I'm pretty skeptical still, and that's why I have to wait to see these things actually released in person. But I hope that this is the start of a new dawn for Marvel Strike Force, and that we can move forward in a more positive manner, and we can see some better changes. But hey, maybe that's just me being a little optimistic for once, and would like to hear from you guys about how optimistic or not you are. So that's the end of my weird late night video, and this is going to be going out pretty soon after recording, and I'll see you guys in the blog post, I guess. So until then, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.